Okay, let's try a few questions and answers. I don't know if this will work, so let's give it a shot. Ralph writes in. He says, some comments on sitemaps, please. It seems updates in sitemaps depend on page views of a site. No, Ralph, that's not really true. As far as I understand it, page views are not really a factor on when things are updated in sitemaps. So there are different pieces of data within sitemaps. So imagine, 5 different little pieces of data, and they can all be updated at different times and at different frequencies. Typically, they'll be updated, within days or, at worst case, within weeks. However, as far as I know, it's not dependent on page views. Let's try another one. What are some general guidelines and recommendations you would make to people who desire to increase their site's visibility on Google? Wow, okay, so this is a meaty topic. Definitely a longer issue, but let's go ahead and dive into it. So in general, the number one thing that most people kind of make a mistake on SEO is they don't make their site crawlable. So you want to look at your site either through a search engine's eyes or use a text browser. Do something and go back to 1994 and use links or something like that. If you can get through your entire site using only a text browser, you're going to be in pretty good shape, because most people don't even bother with crawlability. You also want to have things like sitemaps on your site. You can also use our sitemaps tool in addition to that. Once you've got your content, and you want to have good content that's interesting, a reason why somebody would actually want to link to you, and your site is actually crawlable, then you need to go about marketing, promoting, or optimizing your site. So the main things that I would advise are, think about the people who are really relevant to your niche and make sure that they know about you. So that's just, if you're associated with a doctor because you've got some medical kind of tie with your website, make sure that that doctor knows about you, and if he's got a website, it might be appropriate for him to link to you. You also want to be thinking about a hook, something that's viral. It can be really good content. For example, newsletters, tutorials. I was setting up all this video stuff, trying to make it look semi-professional, and there were tutorials by a company called PhotoFlex. They were saying, here's how to do a fill light, and a key light, and all that sort of stuff. Oh, and by the way, you can buy our equipment to do that. That's really, really smart. And in fact, another photography site that I went to, they had syndicated their tutorial lessons to that other website. So content can be a great way to get links. You can also look at things like Dig, Slashdot, TailRank, Reddit, social networking sites, MySpace, those sort of things. But fundamentally, you need something interesting that sets you apart from the pack. And once you've got something like that, then you're going to be in much better shape as far as promoting your site. But again, the biggest step, making sure your site is crawlable. After that, making sure you've got great content, and then finally, trying to do the best you can to find some hook, some reason why users would really love your site, return to it, and bookmark it. Alright, let's do another one. What conditions, asks Brian M., cause Google to use the DMOZ snippet when there is already a valid meta description tag on the page? That's a really good question. I actually had to go and ask the snippets team. I was like, hi, why does this happen? And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but here's the way you should think about it. Suppose that you have a page about Christina Aguilera or something like that, and your open directory snippet is about Britney Spears. Well, if you type in, or some user types in Britney Spears, that's going to be a much better snippet. So the way I would be thinking about it is there's all this scoring process, which does all this selection to say, okay, you are the best document to be returned. Once we've selected and scored your document so that you're going to be returned a certain slot on the search engines, now what you need to do is think, okay, is the open directory snippet or my meta tag a better match for what the user actually typed in? So it's actually query dependent. That is, depending on the query the user typed, we say, well, we think that the meta description tag from the open directory project or from your meta tags is going to be a better match for the user's query. And then based on that, we try to say, okay, in that case, let's go with the meta tags. In this other case, let's go with the open directory project. Now you can, if you don't like the open directory snippet, you can use the meta no ODP tag, and that will prevent us from using the meta tag or the description from the open directory project. So you have sort of the ability to sculpt things a little bit and choose which things you want to have happen. All right. This one's a good one. Laura McKenzie writes in. She says, Does Google favor bold over strong tags? In general, we probably favor bold just a little bit more, but it's so slight that I wouldn't really worry about it. I would go ahead and do your markup however you want to do it, not worrying so much about, oh, if I use italics, am I going to get a little bit of a boost in Google or something like that. Any kind of effect like that is relatively small, so in general I do whatever is best for your users or whatever is best for your site, and then not worry about it that much after that. I think I'm going to go ahead and upload what we've got so far, see how it looks, and hopefully I'll be back in a bit.